Hey everyone, Mr. Newman here, and today we're going to learn about multiplying polynomials. There are three types of multiplication we're going to look at. The first is multiplying a monomial with a binomial. Remember that a monomial has one term and a binomial has two terms. So you see this first one, for example, here, 3 times 2 plus x. The monomial is 3 and the binomial is 2 plus x. I started us off with one that you guys have probably done before, because when you multiply this, you're just going to distribute. 3 times 2 is 6, and 3 times x is, well, 3x. This is using the distributive property, and that is what we're going to use over and over throughout this worksheet. 6 plus 3x, since you cannot combine those because they're not like terms, 6 plus 3x is simplified. For the next one, we're going to distribute 4x to the 3 and to the x. This gets a little trickier because we're distributing a variable, but notice that 4x times 3 is 12x because 4 times 3 is 12, and 4x times x becomes 4x squared. That's because x times x is x squared. We can't combine these like terms because one of the x's is not squared and the other one is squared. So this is our final answer here. On the next problem, make sure that you distribute the negative 5x, not just 5x. So, when we multiply that negative 5x with the 4, you get negative 20x. When you multiply negative 5x with 2x, you get negative 10x squared. Notice I just put subtraction, but you also could have answered plus negative 10x squared, and that would be correct. So, when you're distributing, make sure you distribute that whole negative 5x. This last one I want you to try on your own. When you distribute the 2x with the 5x, you get 10x squared. And when you distribute the 2x with the 2, you get 4x. So that is our final answer. Now, to multiply a binomial with a binomial, first of all, notice that we have a binomial with a binomial. X plus 1 is a binomial, and x plus 2 is a binomial. I'm first going to show you how to do this with the distributive property. And picture that x plus 1 as a big blob there, as the thing that we're distributing. You can always even think of it as a monomial up above, if that helps. So I'm going to distribute that green blob across to the x and then across to the 2. So we're just distributing again. The x, the blob, gets multiplied by the x, and the blob gets multiplied by the 2. Now, we really know the blob is x plus 1, so I can put that there in parentheses. And when I write it out just in math terms, you get x plus 1 times x plus x plus 1 times 2. Notice we distributed the x plus 1 across the x plus 2. Now, we still have parentheses, but what we could do is we can simply distribute back across. So the x gets distributed to the x and the 1, and the 2 gets distributed to the x and the 1 as well. And what you get, is x squared plus x plus 2x plus 2. We're not done simplifying this because once we've multiplied it, we need to combine all the like terms. Remember, a like term is where a variable, first of all, a term has the same variable and it has the same power on each variable. Here, our x and our 2x both have the variable x on them, and they're both to the first power, so we can add them. X plus 2x is 3x. So our final answer is x squared plus 3x plus 2. Now, if that was a little too much distributing for you, or if you didn't like it, I'm going to show another method that I'm going to use throughout the video. I think this other method is a little bit cleaner and a little bit faster. This was distributing twice, or double distribution, as I'll call it later. This other method, I'll call the box method, because you draw a box. You'll also see me and some other teachers call it the window pane method, or sometimes even the Punnett square method in a nod to biology. So for the box method, what you're going to do is you're going to write, I'm going to use the same problem, you're going to write one binomial on top, where each term gets its own column, and the other binomial along the side, where each term gets its own row. It actually doesn't matter which term you put on top and on the side, as long as you put one on one there and the other on the other side. Now, to get each pane in the box, you're going to multiply. So this first pane is going to be x times x. And what you get is x squared. For the next pane, you're going to multiply x times 1. And x times 1 is 1x. Or you can just write x if you want to simplify it. To get the bottom left pane, you're going to multiply x times 2, and you get 2x. And for the bottom right pane, I'm going to multiply 1 times 2, and that's just 2. So notice I filled out this box. That helps me make sure I did every single possible multiplication. This is the exact same process as if we distributed all those things twice. The last step I need to do is I need to combine my like terms. I'm looking around and I notice that the 1x and the 2x both have just an x with the first power on it. So I'm going to combine those, and when you add them all together, you get x squared plus 3x, because 1x plus 2x is 3x, plus 2. Notice that's the same answer I got before. I just think it's a little bit cleaner, so I'm going to use the box method from here on out. For the next problem, let's go ahead and draw the box, and I want you to solve it. I went ahead and wrote the top and the side in there for you. All right, now that you've done it, if you didn't get it quite right, here's the explanation. Notice that we need to multiply the 4x times the x, and that's going to give us 4x squared. We need to multiply the x times the 2, and that's going to give us 2x. We need to multiply the 4x times the 3, and that's going to give us 12x. And lastly, we're going to multiply the 2 times the 3, and that's going to give us 6. Now, once I combine like terms, the 2x plus the 12x becomes 14x, so I get 4x squared plus 14x plus 6. And there's our final answer. For this next one, you might be wondering, wait a second, what does this have to do with what we're doing? Is squared? Well, be very careful that you don't distribute the 2 across. That's a very common mistake. We're not multiplying here, we're squaring it. So what is x plus 3 squared? Well, it's literally, x plus 3 times x plus 3. When you write it out like that, you very quickly see, oh yeah, that is a binomial times a binomial. So I had better draw my window panes. So I'm going to put x plus 3 on the top and x plus 3 on the side, and let's multiply these out. X times x becomes x squared. X times 3 is 3x. 3 times x is also 3x. And 3 times 3 is 9. So when I combine like terms, the 3x and the 3x are going to get combined. They're going to be added together, so 3x plus 3x is 6x. So we get x squared plus 6x plus 9 is our final answer. For this last one, go ahead and try it on your own. All right, here's how you do it. 3x plus 1 on top and 2x plus 4 on the side. It's okay if you had those switched. The order doesn't matter as long as you have 3x plus 1 on top or on the side and 2x plus 4 on the top or on the side. Now I'm going to multiply them out. Be very careful that you multiply 3x times 2x. That is 6x squared. 2x times 1 is going to be 2x. 3x times 4 is going to be 12x. And 4 times 1 is 4. Once you've done that, notice 6x squared is by itself, but I can combine 2x and 12x. So I'm going to get 14x. And then plus 4. So this is my final answer. All right, we just multiplied a binomial with a binomial. Now we can multiply a binomial with a trinomial. You can use the double distributive property again. Now notice our binomial is x plus 2, and our trinomial in this first case is x squared plus 5x plus 1, because there are 3 terms. You can use the double distribution, again, or double distribute, but I'm going to use the box method instead. Okay? So, with the box method, I'm going to put the x plus 2 over there, because there are 2 rows, and the 3 columns, x squared plus 5x plus 1, right there. If you turn the box on its side and you do a 3 by 2 instead of a 2 by 3, that's perfectly fine because you'll get the same answer. All right, let's multiply each of these. So we do x squared times x. X squared times x is x to the third. 5x times x is 5x squared. And 1 times x is going to be 1x, or just x. 2 times x squared is going to be 2x squared. 5x times 2 is going to be 10x. And 1 times 2 is 2. So we get x cubed plus 7x squared plus 11x plus 2. And that is our final answer. Notice there were 2 sets of similar terms that I could combine there, and that often happens when you do a binomial times a trinomial. All right, lastly over here, x minus 4 will go on the side. Notice x minus 4, I made it negative 4 as the term to multiply with. And notice the minus 2, I changed that to negative 2, so x squared, and then 2x, and then negative 2 were the 3 terms. When we multiply this out, we get x to the third. 2x times x is going to be 2x squared. Negative 2 times x is going to be negative 2x. X squared times negative 4 is negative 4x squared. 2x times negative 4 is negative 8x. And negative 2 times negative 4 is 8. Positive 8. Once again, we have some like terms here, so let's write down x cubed plus 2x squared, and negative 4x squared is going to end up with negative 2x squared. And when we add together negative 2x and negative 8x, we're going to get negative 10x. And we add 8 at the end. So there is our answer. Thank you very much for watching. And we are going to do a lot of these practices in class. So come to class ready to do lots and lots of practices. Thank you very much.